Hi, everybody. Melissa Klein again, and I'm here to talk to you about erasing. And I know it seems kind of obvious, but it occurred to me there's a lot more to it than you might think. So there was my original pencils. This is the ink with the pencil still on it, and you can see the pencil marks kind of underneath the ink, and it looks good. It looks clear. But we're not done yet. So I'm using my feather and my clean eraser. And I do tend to like to use a soft foam eraser, but I also love the pink pearls. So please don't get too hung up on that. And I'm just trying to do this in a way. The first thing I have to say is make sure the thing is dry. Ideally, I like to let it even dry overnight, but at least an hour or so. Even though I know on a warm day you could probably, and I know this for a fact because many of my students have, they've done their ink, they let it dry for like 15 minutes. It was a hot day, and they were totally fine. But I like to err on the side of caution, especially if I know if I'm working with an ink that might kind of have a tendency to smear a little bit. And I'm just being really methodical and thorough about how I go about it. And in some ways, for me, I'm like, I get so bored with it. And I'm also struggling with just keeping the paper, to be sitting still on it. And I think that's why I like using a heavier paper, too, because it tends to, just handle, even though this isn't like a highly handled piece of paper in terms of, I haven't done a ton of watercolor on it or things like that. Now here I noticed that I have a couple of smudges that are probably from my hand when it was wet, so I'm using the infamous Pro White. One of the things I've noticed about Pro White is that it's actually not as white as some of these super white papers. So it does tend to match really well with this paper, but not so great with those pen and ink papers. So it's for me, I'm like, we might want to, I'm going to be experimenting a little bit with using acrylics and other types of things. So I was just doing a tiny bit of touch up. I'd rather do that physically than digitally. So here we go. And and there, and I've took this all in the same light, but I think because the camera is adjusting based on what amount of contrast there is. And it's just sharper, clear, prints, reads better, that kind of thing. So I look forward to seeing what you do. Thank you so much for watching.